Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Sparring Partners podcast. My name is Coby McKinley, and thank you for joining me this week as we take a look through what just happened, what's going to happen, and, you know, little bits and odd pieces of news and some things I've found on Reddit, mostly on Reddit. First, get out of the way some housekeeping. For those of you who are watching, if you ever wanted to listen, you can do so on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, and there's a few other places. Anchor.fm is the best place really to find where we are. I believe we're on 6 different services. But yeah, also available on YouTube, where you may be watching now. Back for a 9th episode. Brad is MIA this week, so it's just me, and we'll be looking at the pass card and UFC 256, which is coming up. In addition to that, there's been some news in regards to the UFC roster. And yeah, man, COVID's taken its toll on a bunch of these cards. So it's made it pretty hard for the UFC to plan. I mean, one of the cards coming up has like 17 fights on it. And I think that's just insurance policy, because by this point, they're just banking on a few of them. I mean, this past week, it was 3 fights. I think we went from an 11 fight card to an 8 fight card. Well, not the worst thing in the world if the UFC didn't vamp. I watched way more promo footage this past card than I have in a very long time. Just to keep that keep that the timetable there for the UFC good. As always, you can reach out to us on Instagram in the comments below, either on filmfightfreaks.com, and I don't believe there's comments on any of the podcast places. But reach out if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Because really, I would love a Q&A segment. To be honest, it would be fun. It would be fun because I know a lot of people out there will have different thoughts than myself or Brad. It's always good to hear from outside knowledge bases, some of the real MMA heads out there. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and do the old screen share. We'll go to Tapology, my favorite website for general, fighters and names and records and stuff. Excuse me for 1 second while I take a sip of some soda pop before we get going here. All right. So yeah, the first fight of the night, as I said last week, both of these dudes, Jake Collier and Jean Vellante, are both former middleweights, I believe, or light heavyweights. And hey, it was a fun fight. It was a good fight. And it was better than I expected. And Jake Collier had some really solid movement for a heavyweight. Good kicks. It was a good decision win for him. Jean Vellante, man, there were moments in that fight where I felt like, I just felt like if he was in better shape, he would do better. That may just be me as a Vellante fan, but I thought that, man, it was a close fight. It was a good fight. But to put it in perspective, I pulled this. As you can see, there's a disparity. And for you audio guys and gals, it's a couple pictures comparing Jake Collier and Jean Vellante when they were at light heavyweight to when they're at heavyweight. And man, Collier doesn't even look like the same guy, really. Looks like a completely different dude. Jean Vellante, not so much. He looks a little goofy in that picture, but whatever. And Luis Smolka picking up a good win against Quinones. That always is good to see Luis Smolka win. I don't know what it is. It's a Hawaiian fighters, man, and I don't think I am alone in this. Hawaiian fighters, dude. I'm all about them. They fight with a different kind of spirit, and Luis Smolka, I believe he was out of the UFC for a second, and he came back. I believe that's and so anyway, a good win for him here. And then the slam herd round. I was gonna say round the. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say around the octagon. The slam herd round the world. Really, it was awesome. Slam KO from Jordan Leavitt over Matt Wyman. And I'll say something here. Listening to the pre-fight, right? Listening to the pre-fight from Matt Wyman, dude did not sound good. He doesn't. It's been a while since I've listened to Matt Wyman speak, right? But we've been watching him for a while, and I did not like the way he sounded in the pre-fight interview. I mean, it's one of those things about the sport that we just have to accept as fans. It's not a thing that we think about often. Or else, the super fun fights, the crazy wars that I know I enjoy. If we fixated on the damage these dudes take, it would be, when you think about it, those big wars they feel different. But yeah, just for interest's sake, I want to look at Matt Wyman's record, right? 37. He has not been stopped. He hasn't been stopped a crazy amount of times. I expected to find a lot more. But I mean, if you guys hear, I wonder if you guys hear, you probably do. My cat is going nuts. She just can't stand. She can't stand when she can't get in this room. I normally have an open door policy with at least that cat. But man, she goes nuts when I don't let her in this room. Anyway, yeah, I did not like the way that he sounded in the pre-fight interview. I was saying to my girlfriend, I was like, "Ooh, man, he is not." Matt Wyman don't sound great. And then he got bounced on his head. Great win for Jordan Leavitt in that Matt Wyman, at least for the hardcores, is a name. It's a guy we've all heard of, a guy we know who has been traditionally pretty tough, and he's well-rounded in a 2013, 2014 kind of way. If we look at the modern skill set compared to what Wyman brings to the table, he's still very good. But Jordan Levitt getting his first octagon win via slam. That's not typical. I hope people don't expect that from him all the time, because that's Jordan Levitt. I was surprised Wyman pulled guard, because that was like exactly where he didn't want to be, on the floor against Jordan Levitt. The next one that interested me, Benitez and James, as predicted. Fun fight. And Benitez looked awesome, man. He looked the best we've ever seen him against Justin James, who really he played the bull. He did. He moved forward, and he's tough as nails. And until that absolutely vicious knee from Mowgli, it was awesome. It was a really great fight, and I expected no less. And then when we look at the next fight, the co-main event, Jamal Hill and OSP. Hey, man, Jamal Hill delivered. He delivered in round 2. That said, OSP continues to be one of the I think he's one of the most unorthodox figures in the light heavyweight division. Because I think if a lot of people watch him, right, his movement is not technically correct all the time, right? He has really great strikes, really great timing, things of that nature. Pretty good wrestling, strong. And I'm not saying technically incorrect as far as lack of skill, because he's obviously very skilled, but technically incorrect the way he holds his hands, the way he stands. But the first round, he was really frustrating is the wrong word, but he was staying elusive in that weird OSP way. He's really the only guy that OSP is the only guy who fights like OSP, which is why I think he's such a tough assignment for younger fighters, which is why Jamal Hill getting the win impressed me big time. I'm not sure what's next for him. In fact, we will be looking at Evan's post, filmfightfreaks.com, seeing where these fighters go next. I always like to read Evan's where they go now. And then, of course, the main event, which was freaking awesome. It was action-packed, back and forth in that rounds 3 and 4, I felt were a little less certain, right? I felt that 1 and 2, Vettori all the way, but 3 and 4, Hermansson started battling his way back in, and then it was going into the 5th. It was more than likely Vettori's fight, even heading into the 5th, but it very well could have been a 1-round fight heading into the 5th, and Vettori delivered. Upset. I can't remember what he was ranked before, but he just beat the number 4 dude, so he's in the top 5. I take it. And yeah, let's go ahead and look at Evan's picks for where these fighters go next and see. Okay, Joel Alvarez. Cool. Another young prospect. I like that. Kama Worthy and Benitez. I'm down. Good thinking, Evan. Jamal Hill versus Jim Crute. I'll just read the, it's not super long, but so yeah, he overcame OSP, and Jimmy Crute. Yeah, just fought the caucus. So, and then I love that fight. Marvin Vettori versus Robert Whitaker is Evan's pick for where Vettori goes from here. I like that a lot, man. I like that a ton. Vettori is super hungry, and Robert Whitaker, I think, is more than likely hungry to win the belt back, but he doesn't seem in a rush. Vettori seems like a man on a mission. I think that would be, in addition to Vettori's overall skill set and toughness. I like that fight a lot. And then yeah, dude, Vettori is a really great striker, but not in the same way that Whitaker is. And yeah, cool. I'm down. Cool. Well, that was UFC Fight Night Hermansson Vettori. Happened this past Saturday, and time to move on to the next tab. And that's UFC 256 Figueiredo Moreno. Oh my God. The canceled, fizzled bouts. Yeah, man. Okay, so we've lost some fights since this was first announced. Just to run through them. Andrea Lee broke her nose, is no longer fighting Jillian Robertson, sorry. Carl Roberson positive. Hill and Tisha Torres, no. That was one I was super excited for. Hill tested positive. This, of course, was supposed to 256 was supposed to be Jan and Sterling, but Jan withdrew, according to Tapology, for personal reasons. His reason of withdrawal didn't affect anyone except himself. Marvin Vettori, okay. Yeah, there were a bunch of... Oh, yeah, Usman and Burns. Anyway, let's look at some of the interesting fights that are left on the card. Chase Hooper, his first fight back since dropping the decision to Bruce Leroy, right? Billy Quarantillo, it's the double L's, man. You just I'm not sure which way he wants that pronounced. Gavin Tucker, solid. I like that. Dern is on the card against Jandiroba. Cool. I'm down. Cub Swanson versus Daniel Pineda. That's cool. I like that. I'm always down to watch Cub Swanson throw down. I think this is his first fight since his decision win over Gracie. Is that correct? I believe it's correct. He broke his. He didn't break anything. Maybe depends on how bad the. Yeah, he blew his knee out after that decision win of Kron Gracie. I forgot about that quintet. The quintet, by the way, just a little side note. If you like grappling, grappling shows, quintet is awesome. All of them are on Fight Pass. Super fun. I like the way they do it. You have a team of 5, and the other team has a team of 5, and it's kind of it's winner stays in, right? And you go until the team runs out of people. Whichever team runs out of people. So like fighter 1 faces fighter A, fighter 1 beats fighter A, then fighter B, and if he runs through all 5, you get it. But it's a very fun show. From the mind of Kazushi Sakuraba. Yeah, okay, so this is his first fight back since since he hurt himself. It'll be interesting to see how he looks movement-wise and the rest of it. Dos Santos and Cyril Gane, don't know, should prove. I don't know. Gane's only 6-0, but he's been impressive thus far, and JDS is not the same JDS that we know and love. Or I guess I'd say he's an ever-changing, ever-aging JDS. But man, 21-8 is pretty hard to overcome for 6-0, unless that 6-0 is pretty dang special. And I have a feeling the UFC is hoping that Gane is pretty dang special. JDS is a popular dude, but for the current fans, I'm not sure. Current fans meaning like post McGregor. I don't know if JDS is thought of in the same way that I think of JDS. And in some respects, maybe their picture of JDS is more accurate than mine, because he was coming up when, I was watching in high school when he was the first Fox event. I'm pretty sure the very first, when he won the belt. I believe I was in high school. Kevin Holland and Jacare Souza, big test for Kevin Holland. And if he was worried about going to the ground against Hermansson, he's got to be even more careful not to hit the mat. He's got to be super careful. And he's got really long limbs that Jacare cannot wait to get a hold of. I think it's good for the division if Holland wins and he keeps his momentum. But damn, that's an uphill. It's uphill. He's really going to have to stay off the fence. And use his long arms to hit Jacare in the head. Moicano and Rafael Fiziev. Excuse my ignorance, but Fiziev, I can't say I'm familiar with. Oh my God, he's fought 3 times? And his last fight was a win over DeCasey. Cool. So he's won 2 in a row and 4 out of his last 5. And he has only won via decision thus far. And then Moicano is moving up. Well, he already did, I thought. And he's won one in a row. And he finished his lightweight debut. Cool. Okay. Weird placement of that card. Maybe this is not final, but that's weird placement in that card. Ferguson Oliveira. I was gonna woo really loud, but my girlfriend's sleeping. Instead, I will just say, wow, that is a very good fight. Ferguson Oliveira, man, where do you even begin? I'm just now like trying to think about it for the podcast. I'm just now imagining how crazy, like really imagining how crazy fun that fight is. Because they're both phenomenal in-fighters with knees and elbows. They both are pretty good range strikers, right? Ferguson is not the same. he's not as clean on the outside striking as Oliveira. Oliveira is very much like when I picture in my head Muay Thai MMA fighter, it's like a silhouette of Oliveira and the way he stands and the way he strikes. But Ferguson just has that unrelenting forward pressure. Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch the. I don't normally watch the War Room, Dan Hardy's deal, but I assume he's done one for Ferguson Oliveira, and if he has, that's on the agenda. I gotta watch that one because on the ground they're both also awesome. They're both Oliveira is arguably, more dangerous on the floor than he is on the feet, and the same actually could be said for Ferguson too. It's just Ferguson is so absolutely violent on the feet. All right, I'm so down. And then Figueiredo and Moreno turn right back around 3 weeks later, and fighting for that 125 title. Credit to them, both of them. Forget that that title training camp. Just 3 weeks and you're back at it, man. And both guys have an argument to win. The one thing that I am curious about, right? Moreno is 18-5. Has he ever been shut off? Is what I'm wondering. Unless one of these three, unless it was one of these three, he's never been stopped via strikes. Ooh, and what a streak he's gone on, man. Perez. Askarov was a split draw, so I mean it's a instead of a win streak, it's an unbeaten streak. So he's a 4-0-1 in his last 5. And while the stoppage of Royval is questionable, whatever, man, throw him in there against Figueiredo. He knocks people asleep. Yeah. Oh man. What a stretch. Oh man, and out of Figueiredo's last 5, he's finished 4. That's nuts. And 3 of those 4 in the first round. Dude. Yeah, this it's probably not going to be a high selling main event. Just like the last pay-per-view probably did not sell like crazy. But this is going to be a fun one. And God, please no more COVID. Please, this card is dope. I'm really excited for this card. And yeah, before I get a little bit of a shorter episode this week, not much shorter, but a little bit shorter. Kind of close these, and these are some of the things I pulled for us to look at. Not much to say about them. Well, some of them will say some stuff, but Anthony Rumble Johnson apparently looking to bury everybody in UFC Return. There's no reason to think that he can't. It depends on which weight class he wants to come back to, but hey, dude, I'm super excited to see him back in the octagon. I just wonder against who and when. maybe he just doesn't want to return during COVID, which is understandable. I mean, you've been retired for how long, or like on a hiatus for how long, and you're going to return in the middle of no crowds. Well, I mean, unless he feels like he's got a clock ticking Father Time, I don't see why he'd come back while there's no crowds. Yeah, but who knows when crowds are coming back? All right. Yes, Yoel Romero released from the UFC. Very interesting. And the quote from Dana White: he's 44. He's lost 4 of his last 5. These are tough decisions you've got to make. Is the word from Dana White, and he also said that there's going to be about 60 cuts from the roster, because he said that the roster was inflated or bloated. I can't remember which word he used, but essentially 60 athletes are going to be cut from the UFC, and one of the first among them is Yoel Romero, one of the first surprise ones. I believe Formiga recently got released and a couple other guys, but Romero is the surprising one because he's still on the tip of a bunch of fans' tongues about what's he going to do, where is he fit in the division while he's gone. And unfortunately for him, there was a tweet earlier that interested me from Ariel Helwani. From Jed L. Goodman, a reliable source. But he is quoting Ariel. Ariel, surprisingly, I'm told Bellator is not interested, and I'm told PFL is not interested. Well, if you're Yoel Romero, where do you go? It's possible you could go to ONE FC. It's possible you could go to Ryzen. Yeah, I don't know where he goes. Bellator was pretty much, if as soon as I heard he was cut, Bellator, I was like, Scott Coker was on the phone 10 minutes ago trying to get Yoel Romero into the Bellator middleweight division, but yeah, apparently not. He is not going to find a home in Bellator, and he's not going to find a home in PFL. Surprising. But who knows? Who knows? That could be posturing to lower some. It could very well be a negotiation tactic. We know Dana White will sometimes go public with the media in order to affect contract negotiations behind the scenes. It could be very possible that this is what is happening. If Bellator is leaking out that they're not interested, PFL is leaking out they're not interested. And I mean, if you think about it, yeah, Dana White's right. I mean, Yoel Romero is, almost 45, and yeah, he's lost most of his recent bouts. That said, he's been fighting nothing but the best of his division in his most recent bouts. So can't exactly call the guy washed up. But if his goal is to be the absolute best in the world and be considered the best in the world, his recent results illustrate that that's probably not feasible. Next up, speaking of people being cut from the UFC. Oh no, that is later. Rachel Olstovich. Not surprising. Not a surprising one. She had been finished in all of her recent losses, and she hadn't won in 3 or 4 fights. So you understand why. You understand why they, there was a time when they may not have still cut her, but you get it. It's she's going to be a star in whatever organization she finds herself in. Because, like we all know, she's very marketable. Yeah. Sucks, but that's the way it goes. And there's more to come, apparently. And this got announced. And to quote the boss man yet again, when people ask me what's the state of boxing right now, that's where it's at. Didn't that kid get beat up by a video game kid from England, and now he's going to fight Floyd Mayweather? Yeah, he is. He sure is going to go fight Floyd Mayweather. I'm not sure if it's related to that Max event. I think that's what it was. The event Japan Mayweather wants to do. It's possible. And also, man, the size disparity between these two is going to be nuts. I mean, granted, it's exhibition, but I don't. This is the issue I have being a fight fan. Do I want this to exist? Do I want Jake Paul to fight Floyd Mayweather? Well, I mean, I guess I don't want it or not want it. It's whether I will watch it or not watch it. The feeling I get when I look at the picture of these two and know they're going to fight, I don't want to watch it, but I am going to watch it. That's it. That's how it was with Tyson and Jones. But this is not Tyson and Jones. This is a totally different type of freak show thing. And if it happens to Japan, all bets are off because there's no regulatory body in Japan. So all bets are off if it happens to Japan. I still am not sure anyone gets put to bed, but man, what a weird world. And the last thing I will leave you with is something I was reminded of on the old RMMA, and we'll credit the poster when we see it. But 1 year ago today, after Tito Ortiz submitted that WWE dude, we got the weirdest stat, one of the weirdest stats I've ever seen. And here you are. Tito Ortiz, 29th greatest MMA fighter of all time. He made the top 30, baby. What is that stat? According to who? Ranks Tito Ortiz, number 29, greatest MMA fighter of all time, is what it says on the screen. According to who? Did beating Alberto Del Rio in round 1 get him did that break him into the top 30 of all time? Where is there an all-time list other than Tapology? And hold on, we're gonna go. No, we're not. I don't know. Whatever. We'll let Tito Ortiz have his moment as the 29th greatest MMA fighter of all time. Oh yeah, just throw the thing way on Reddit. Reminded us of this great Tito Ortiz moment. Well, that is that. Yeah, still see me. Yeah, well, our show is over now. I don't have much more for you, but I will say that no. There we go. Yeah, that's the end of the show, guys. Just a few notes. As always, reach out to us in the comments below, either on the website or on youtube.com. You can send us messages, sparringpartnerspodcast@gmail.com, and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I always forget to do that at the beginning. Oh well. Well, thank you guys for another week, and we'll be seeing you soon. Peace out.